Okay, scholars, this is lesson 3 in our character trait unit. So in lesson 1, we identified a character trait. In lesson 2, we provided evidence that supported our character trait. And then today in lesson 3, we're going to focus on what the character says. So when we look at a book and we look at what's happening in the story, if we pay attention to the comments or the actions of a character, it really helps us understand the character trait. Now listen, character traits can change throughout the story, which is going to be our next lesson. So how our character behaved in the beginning of the story, in the middle of the story, and in the end of the story. So we need to be paying attention to what they're saying in order to figure out how their character traits change throughout the story. So today we're simply going to focus on what will the character say. So let's move on to our next slide. So we're going to read this quick little story. I made my video over here. It says, Janessa finds out that her friend Jane stole her favorite pen from her locker. What might Janessa do to show that she is forgiven? Okay, what could Janessa say to Jane that shows that she is a forgiving person? So let's look at our choices. I don't want to be your friend anymore. How could you do that? That was a mean thing to do. Or I want to be able to trust you. Can you promise you'll never steal from me again? So let's go back to our story. We want to see that Janessa is a forgiving person. So to be forgiven means that you allow that person to apologize, you accept their apology, and you move forward. You don't hold a grudge. You're not going to continue to be mean to them. So which of these would show that Janessa is a forgiving person? Would you pick the yellow one? I don't want your friend to be your friend anymore. Is that forgiving? How could you do that? That was a mean thing to do. Or would you pick this one, the blue one? I want to be able to trust you. Can you promise you'll never steal from me again? So yes, if you picked the blue one, that is correct. Okay, so the blue statement would show that Janessa is a forgiving person. All right, so let's move to our next question. All right, the first thing we're going to do is read the passage. It says, Rachel says to her friend, even though I want to play my game, it's your turn to choose. Which one do you want to play? What might Rachel do next to show that she's being fair? Okay, so let's read that one more time. Rachel says to her friend, even though I want to play my game, it's your turn to choose. Which one do you want to play? What might Rachel do next to show that she is fair? Okay, so let's look at our suggestions. Suggest they play her friend's game, find someone else to play with, complain about playing with her friend's game, or beg to play her own game. So which one of these shows that Rachel is being fair? So if you picked the yellow one, suggest that they play her friend's game, then you are correct, okay? The other scenarios or the other statements does not reflect Rachel being a friend or even being a fair person, okay? All right, so now on the next slide, you are going to practice this using in 3 questions, and let's see how you do.